Hi everyone, this is Adrian at 18 Echo SF. I decided to make a short video today talking about the difference between performance shooting and defensive shooting. What brought this to mind was a class that I was considering on taking and am actually registering for tonight. It's a class that's going to be given by Frank Proctor. If you don't know who Frank Proctor is, I highly recommend you go out to YouTube and search for Frank Proctor Way of the Gun. You'll see a great shooter and a great instructor, and he's going to be having a class here in California that I had heard about and was thinking about taking. So just the other day, I sent Frank a short email. He and I have become friendly over the past few months. We have a little bit in common, even though I am considerably older than Frank. We are both former Special Forces 18 Echo radio operators and weapons guys, and so we have that going for us as a friendship thing. Anyway. Frank knows my age and knows that I am in reasonably good shape for a guy who's almost 71 years old. And, you know, I thought that maybe taking his class might not be real beneficial to me because all of the classes that I've been taking over the past few years have all been defensive handgun courses. I go to a real great school up just east of LA called ITTS, run by a great instructor named Scott Reitz. And I've taken a number of classes. My wife has been through 2 classes, and I even gave my son a class there as well. It's really a great school. All the instructors are Los Angeles Police Department SWAT officers, and they really know what they're doing, and they teach very, very well. But anyway, this past year, I happened to discover Frank Proctor and fell in love with the way that he teaches and how matter of fact and to the point he is. And I bought his DVD, which is just fantastic. It's called Performance Pistol. That happens to be the name of the class that he teaches. So anyway, Frank sent me an email back after I asked him about whether he thought it would be beneficial for me to take his class. And he said, absolutely. He said, you know, he doesn't teach defensive tactics at all, but what he teaches is how to get the gun into action and shoot quickly, get rounds downrange, and accurately. So that's really the basis of his teaching. The more rounds you can get out quickly and hit the target, the better off you are stopping a threat. So I thought, that sounds really great. I'm looking for something beyond just defensive tactics. I wanted to really practice and really learn from someone who knows how to do it, how to really shoot fast and accurate. And Frank is definitely the guy. If you watch his videos, you'll see what I mean. And what prompted me to make the video today, I subscribed to a podcast by a firearms industry guy named Michael Bain, who some of you may or may not know. He's very well known in the gun industry, has a TV show and some radio shows, and he's a pretty outspoken guy. But he's been around a long time as a shooter. And he is good friends with all the people at Gunsight. He's been through their Gunsight 250 class. And of course, as most people says, nothing but good things. In today's podcast with Michael, he was talking about how shooters, be they instructors or not, you know, really kind of dwell on the stance that we take when we're shooting. A Weaver or modified Weaver stance versus an isosceles stance. And, you know, when you're a beginner and absolutely first learning to shoot, you do need to learn, you know, the true basics of stance and sight picture, sight alignment, grip. you know, so you can learn how to control the recoil of a pistol. However, as you become more experienced, that issue really is not anything that anyone really needs to just keep keying on. The key is being able to get your weapon deployed out of a holster and get it into action by pulling the trigger and getting as many rounds on the target to stop the threat as quickly as you can. And Bain talked about this, the fact that all of the schools, they all basically teach one or the other. They either teach, excuse me, they either teach a Weaver stance or an isosceles. And the fact that it really doesn't matter after a period of time, it was the purpose of his comment. And you know, in a gunfight, when you know, the shit hits the fan, you're not thinking about stance or any of that. You are reverting to muscle memory that has been developed by practice. And because you're not going to be thinking about how you're standing, you're probably going to be moving anyway. And you know, most of us have to shoot at an indoor range with lanes, static lanes right in front of you. You can't move left or right but a couple of inches. You know, it's very difficult to do any really good training at a range. Its purpose is for marksmanship more than anything, and to have the gun in your hand, because the more you have a gun in your hand, the better off you're going to be. It's the reason I dry fire about 3 times a week, because in the big scheme of things, like I said, when trouble starts, you're going to just revert to whatever your training was, and it's going to be muscle memory. So the more that you can, you know, draw from a holster, come up on target, practice. I don't even use trigger reset, I'll be honest. I don't even think about it when I shoot. When I shoot multiple rounds, I know for a fact that my finger does come off the trigger. But you know, I shoot 1911s. They have very short resets anyway, and you know, I can activate it, you know, pretty quick. So for me, trying to concentrate on doing something like trigger reset just is not in the cards, you know. So, but anyway, I'd be curious to see if whoever watches this video, you know, what you think. I absolutely believe what Frank Proctor has said, you know, that the key to shooting is really getting multiple rounds on target as quickly as you can. And that definitely relates to defensive purposes as well. So I'm really looking forward to taking this class. It's not going to be till November, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be 71 years old, as I said earlier, by the time I take that class. I'll definitely be the oldest guy in the class. You know, I don't pretend to try to stay up with 20, 30, 40-year-old men. You know, the skills that I had as a military guy back when I was in my 20s, you know, those skills have gone away. You know, your balance, coordination, just everything slows down as you get older. So the more, this is what I feel, the more that I can practice at a range to keep my marksmanship skills up, and the more classes I can take at least once a year to help me retain some of the movement things that I need to do while shooting, can be nothing but beneficial. So I'm really looking forward to the class, and after next November, I'll let you all know how it goes. And if you watch any of Frank's videos, you'll understand immediately why I'm going to one of his classes. He's not from the West Coast, so I'm really glad that he travels throughout the United States and gives these classes. So I'll let you know how it goes. Anyway, if you have any comments, any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll leave a couple of links there to Frank's company, Way of the Gun, the gun site, ITTS, and a Michael Bain blog as well, so you can see who I'm talking about. Anyway, stay well and safe out there, folks.